So the first time I heard of quiet time was in 2018 when I went for a fellowship. Hello, hi, welcome to my channel. I'm talking about quiet time and what is quiet time? Quiet time is basically a time that you bring out to spend with God on a daily basis. And if you go to, so the first time I heard of quiet time was in 2018 when I went for a fellowship, and they're like how to have a quiet time. And it was a new experience for me because I was doing something new. It wasn't the casual thing. So time is basically finding a time during the day to spend with God and spend with God in prayer, in fellowship, in worship, in study of the word and things like that. And quiet time is a time that you spend with God. So no matter how small your quiet time is, even if it's like 30 minutes in the morning, if you wake up in the morning, just read the Bible, study the word before you go out to work is best. And the best time to have quiet time is in the morning hours because set a part for you ahead of your day. So how has quiet time helped me as a person? Quiet time has helped me to, if you really say you want to have a relationship with God and you don't have quiet time, it's not possible. God is waiting for us to reach out to him so that he can reach out back to us. So it's like pouring ourselves to him first so he can now respond back in return. So really quiet time myself since I helped me build a relationship with God. So there was a time I went on a fast and I was asking God for some things, and I was just doing it every day. I was not really praying myself per se. Maybe I just had a little quiet time, but not so much. And then when the answers started coming, I was so shocked because I knew this was what I was praying for, but I was not even expecting it to that extent. It was so mind-blowing. And then sometimes achieve all those things, it will now be like a reason for you just to relax and just forget about spending time with God because you finally got your request. But no, for a healthy relationship, you don't just ask somebody for something and when you ask the person for something, you're off. Unless you don't want that relationship to be a long-lasting relationship. First of all, if you want to have a quiet time, you have to have a structure. Okay, first thing you have to do is to find the time you're going to spend with God and be consistent with that time. Is the place you'll be staying, the place you stay to have that quiet time, whether it's your room or your parlor. Things you will do, they are on Bible study. When we hear Bible study, we get so scared. Jai for me, because there are sometimes I've done Bible study and I might just be reading one verse or two verses or one chapter, and I'll find myself reading that for 1 hour. So there was a time I got scared and I started drifting away from that thing because I felt it consumed so much of my time. So when we hear Bible study, sometimes it just scares us and shifts us, and we're even asking ourselves, how does this Bible study draw us closer to God? When you're studying, Bible study does not necessarily mean that you will be studying. It just means reading the Bible intentionally. Sometimes when I'm reading the Bible intentionally, we'll just be and then Joseph went to Mary. We'll just be reading so lackadaisically, just so that you just finish that chapter or that passage. You have to read it, even if it's one chapter a day. Just read it intentionally so that even if you might not have memorized any verse, the scenario of that event is stuck in your mind and when you're walking during the day, God can use it to speak to you. So the best way for God to speak to us is through His word. That's why reading the word is very important. You can also listen to messages during the day from your favorite preachers or people like that. And then number 2, meditating. This is a higher level of Bible study. This is where you can pick out, let's say God highlighted when you're reading the Bible. God highlighted one scripture to you, and you start meditating, brooding on that particular scripture, and it sort of keeps expanding in your mind, having different journaling comes in. Because when you're journaling, you're writing what you understood, you're writing what God is telling you through the scriptures, you're writing what He's telling you when you're praying, you're writing how you feel. It's like a way of expressing yourself more, and then you can go back to that journal days after or years after and see some promises or some things that God told you, and you'll be able to relate. So it's like documentation, documenting your work with God and things that are going on and things like that. And also prayer is very important, because this is where we talk to God. Prayers, most people think that prayer is request, like supplication, but that some of them are entirely different. Prayer is the act of communication with God, and just sit down and start telling God things are happening and things like that, and just committing everything you're doing into His hands, and just putting yourself into His hands, just expressing yourself to Him, whether in tongues or in English, just the mode that you know to pray, or even in silence. Some people pray better in silence, because then they are quiet enough to hear God. It's not that they will not say anything, but then they are quiet enough to hear God. Also, there's thanksgiving. Most times, as Christians, as believers, when it comes to God's prayer, in prayer, we just come in the sense of asking for requests, for things, for stuff like that. And even when they are finally done, we forget to really thank God for what He has done. And we actually find out that looking back, He might have granted a lot of our requests, but as we keep going, we keep having more desires. And most times, when we just forget about the things that God has done and just look at things, only the things we want, we start feeling bitter, resentful towards ourselves and towards God. Those little things that God has done, I have not failed to thank Him well for it. And there's an adage that says, if we thank a king, we will do more. So it's very good to thank God, and even helps to lift our moods up. During quiet times, you can make requests. Request is when you come before God to ask Him for things. Just say, Lord, I'm asking you for this, do this for me, do that for me. Alright, so the benefits of quiet time. Quiet time helps you to build a relationship with God. Helps you to build a relationship with God. You don't just need to come to God in your times of trouble, and your times of request. You just come to God every day like a friend. So it gives us the opportunity for God to speak to us about different circumstances, either through His word or dreams. And then it makes us more aware of God's presence in our lives. Most times when you just wake up in the morning and just rush out of the house, we're just carried about with all the affairs that we have to go through. But when we are able to engage in God's presence, we feel that presence with us as we're leaving the house, what we're doing, and we always remember that God is with us. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and like this video. Thank you, and bye.